As nonprofit leaders, we try to read when we can. We are trying to stay up to date on social movements and the latest strategies to create positive change in our communities and new ways of handling the business side of running a nonprofit so that we can handle things effectively. Over the past year or so, I've had a few of you ask what books I would recommend for other nonprofit and social impact leaders. So in this video, I'm excited to share 9 books that I've read that have really helped me gain new insights and grow as a change maker. I will also be sure to leave links to where you can find these books in the description below in case you're curious and want to check them out. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Amber Melanie Smith. I'm a nonprofit founder, executive director, and person making YouTube videos all about these topics here to help others trying to create social change do the same. If you are interested in content all about nonprofits or social enterprise or starting organizations or doing other kinds of social impact projects, definitely check out the rest of my videos on my channel. And if you're looking for some guidance and training on these topics, also check out my website, foundertofulltime.com. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel for more videos like it. Okay, I'm excited to share these book recommendations with you. Each of these books really helped me grow and step up my game in a unique way. I've divided these recommendations into 3 categories. The first is books that helped me understand people and psychology in the context of creating an impact. Books about social change is the second category, and the third category is books all about how to be a great leader. Once again, if you're curious about any of these books, I will leave the links in the description below where you can check those out. All right, so here is the recommendations in category number 1, books all about understanding people and the way they think, because that is honestly a really important part of creating social impact and social change. The first book, and I really enjoyed this one, that I would love to recommend is The Power of Meaning, Crafting a Life That Matters. This is by Emily Esfahani Smith. I have always been interested in what it means to live a meaningful life and have purpose in life, so I was really drawn to this book and this topic, especially after I heard the author share some of this content during her TED Talk. I recommended this book for nonprofit leaders because, well, for one, it helps you do some introspection and think about your own meaning, but it also helps you tap into how to help others find their meaning in life. So on a personal note, it can deepen your own love of your social impact mission and whatever cause you're supporting. And from a practical or even business side, understanding what people crave in terms of meaning in their lives can help you craft some really great messaging for your nonprofit and the work that it does, because people are often drawn to great causes when they talk about finding meaning in their life, and many people find said meaning by getting involved with a cause. So you can help people find their meaning through working possibly with your organization, and it'll be a mutually beneficial, beautiful arrangement. The second book that I'm really excited to recommend, and this is definitely something I've recommended to a lot of people, it is called Switch: How to Change Things When Change is Hard. This is by authors Chip and Dan Heath. This is extremely helpful in life, in business, and especially in the nonprofit and social impact world, because it talks you through human psychology, but also the very practical steps that you can take to inspire people to change their minds on challenging topics or motivate them to take action on something that is complicated or hard. And if you're in the nonprofit or social change world, then you know that that is most every social issue that we're trying to tackle here. This book has really been invaluable to me in helping me think through marketing materials and messaging and how to best share ideas with others to gain their support. All right, in the second category of books that I recommend, these are all books that talk about how to create social change, usually on a larger scale. And I think that even if your nonprofit is locally focused, that understanding what can create large-scale movements and social change can really help you apply some of the same principles in your local community to deepen your impact too. So it's just really helpful knowledge to have when you are in the nonprofit or social impact world. The first book in this category is called Doing Good Better by William McGaskill. If you have ever felt lost or wondered how to know what social issues or causes you should focus your energy and your time on, this book might be for you. It covers the concept and philosophy of what's called effective altruism, which is really a framework for helping decide, almost in a formulaic way. They actually have a literal, almost mathematical formula in the book that you can use to figure out what issues you need to focus on based on what issues have the most dire consequences for humanity, and combined with which issues maybe are getting the least attention so far across the globe. And that's how you determine where you should maybe be spending your time and energy, tackling these big issues that could make a big impact but are not getting too much attention just yet. It also helps you think how you can personally use your own specific resources and talents to most effectively make an impact. Maybe running a nonprofit is not actually the most effective way that you personally could make an impact. Maybe it is teaching, maybe it is volunteering, maybe it is earning lots of money so you can give it to charity. There are lots of different ways that are described in this book, and it really just kind of gives you some perspective on how to tackle almost without ego the question of how to make the biggest difference in the world possible. The next book in this category that I can't recommend enough is called Banker to the Poor. This is by Muhammad Yunus. If you've ever been curious about how social movements could have widespread impact and literally change the world, then this is a really fascinating story about the life and work of Muhammad Yunus, who is considered the father of modern microfinance. In this book, he details his steps, his challenges, and his successes in creating and helping his organization, Grameen Bank, which is a Nobel Peace Prize winning organization, grow and thrive. This organization is making business loans to the poorest people in the world because typical traditional banks would not help them. And so he went against the grain and decided, I'm going to be the banker to the poor and help these folks out and help them lift themselves out of poverty. If you're just learning about all of the different structures and ways that change is made in the world, then this book is also a really great introduction to the concept of social enterprise, which is the idea of using market-driven, business-driven approaches to solving and tackling social issues. The third book I want to recommend in this category is My Life, My Love, and My Legacy by Coretta Scott King. Coretta is, of course, the wife of the late Martin Luther King Jr., but because this is Coretta's story and not Martin Luther King's story, we really get a broader view of the civil rights movement as told from her perspective. And it shares how Coretta continued her own work and the work of her late husband after his assassination to eventually launch the King Center for Nonviolent Social Change. I enjoyed this book and I found value in this book for numerous reasons, but one of them is that it's helpful to remember that social change is not created by any single person by themselves, that they have many people around them who are contributing and adding value and playing a role in the movement. But one of the things I really like most about this book is that when you read Coretta's story, you get this picture of a whole human being. Not just the face of a movement, not just an activist, but someone who was a talented singer, someone who was a devoted mother and wife. You get a picture of the full human being, and it's a really helpful reminder, especially for those who are doing this work, that we have to come to this work as whole people, not just as a symbol, not just as someone representing a singular thing, but as a human being with rich and full lives. The third category of books that I'm excited to recommend are books that help you grow as a leader. In this category, the first book I'm excited to recommend is Manifesto for a Moral Revolution by Jacqueline Novogratz. In this book, Novogratz, who is the founder of Acumen, if you're not familiar already, shares her mistakes and her follies growing as a change-making leader and how to overcome some of these challenges to make a deeper impact in the world as you go. She really emphasized the importance of leaders staying humble, of using a lot of their energy to empower other people and listen to other people, and how to avoid a savior complex. This book really helped me reflect on my own leadership journey and think about some ways that I might be able to improve as well. You're never at the end of your journey when you're growing as a leader and when you are trying to make a difference. There's always more learning to be done, and I really appreciate how she emphasizes that throughout the book. The next book is Start With Why by Simon Sinek. He's a little bit more of a well-known author. Perhaps you've seen his TED Talk on the same topic. In his TED Talk and in this book, Simon Sinek really talks about how the businesses and the individuals and the organizations that tend to be the most successful in reaching their goals are the ones that focus on articulating in and putting most of their energy into their values and their purpose first. Not so much how they're going to reach their goals, the strategy behind it, the actions they're going to take, but the why, the values, the reason, the motivation behind what they're doing. This is something that maybe as change makers we kind of feel intuitively, but it sounds so like mystical, like hard to put into words, that I just really appreciate how Sinek has done this and made it practical. And I can tell you that when we really started doing this for our organization, we did see a change. We saw people understand what we were about more clearly, and our support grew too. We attracted more donors and volunteers, and so I can attest that it works. The third book in this category, or the 8th book on the list that I want to recommend, is called Enchantment: The Art of Changing Hearts, Minds, and Actions by Guy Kawasaki. Now, this book is generally framed for the business world, but I have found a lot of insights and value in it for social change work as well. Kawasaki talks through what leaders can do to enchant, in other words, to excite, delight, and earn the support and loyalty of others. One thing that I really appreciate is how he focuses on being human over being corporate or impersonal. He emphasizes the importance of storytelling and on relationship building. All of these things, which you might know if you've seen some of my other videos, I have emphasized as being effective strategies, especially when it comes to marketing and fundraising for your nonprofit. If you are looking for some awesome inspiration to help you develop a great marketing campaign, I recommend you start with this book. And the final book on my list gets an honorable mention, but just because I haven't finished reading it yet, and that is How to Change the World Without Losing Your Mind by Alex Counts. This book really came at the right time for me because it has been a very long and challenging year plus in the nonprofit and social impact sector and world, and a lot of the leaders that I know who are doing this kind of work are feeling really exhausted, and some are very close to burnout too. As I mentioned, I haven't quite finished this book yet, so I look forward to sharing an update once I have, but so far I'm enjoying learning about some of the ways to cope with how exhausting this work can be and developing some healthy strategies for dealing with burnout and keeping yourself happy and healthy and, as the title suggests, sane while you do this work, because if you are burned out, if you are exhausted, if you're tired, you can't bring your whole self to the work anyway, and that affects your team and your own well-being. So it's important to take care of yourself as well. So there you have it, 9 of my top book recommendations for nonprofit leaders and social impact makers. I'd love to hear from you. Do you have a favorite book that helped inspire your work, that keeps you motivated? Share in the comments below for sure. And as I mentioned before, if you are in the process of starting a nonprofit or need some extra support, definitely check out my website, foundertofulltime.com, or consider subscribing to my newsletter for nonprofit leaders and changemakers, where I send out resources regularly for folks to help inspire some ideas, keep up to date with the latest news, and even find some funding opportunities. So I'll leave the links for those things in the description below if you'd like to check those out. I hope you found this video helpful and fun, and please don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more content about starting a nonprofit or social impact project and more. Final thought, if you are on Facebook, don't hesitate to check out my group, Change the World or Bust. We've got folks in there from all over the world making an impact and encouraging each other along the way. I hope you liked this video, and I hope to see you next time.